Bombshell. The Court of Auditors, led by Enriqueta Chicano, is hiding the serious irregularities detected in the contracts awarded to businessman Juan Carlos Barrabés. All of this to protect Begoña Gómez and Pedro Sánchez. Let's begin. Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of Precautionary Measures with an important exclusive. An important exclusive that also reveals a very significant part of the judicial framework surrounding the Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez. Of this judicial plot that is also unfolding no less than in the Court of Auditors. Pay close attention because we have some extremely serious information that we are going to share with all of you, as always displaying the information on the screen so you can follow along. And of course it is very symptomatic of the widespread corruption that is happening in Spain with Sanchismo and in all public institutions. Extremely serious. We're going to share it on the screen now. You already have an image. Let's start with the image because I think it's worth starting with the photograph. Here you can see Begoña Gómez with Pedro Sánchez at an event. Here, the now former state prosecutor Álvaro García Ortiz. Here, to the left of Amarillo, you have the former vice president of the government, Carmen Calvo. And here, smiling broadly, is the current president of the Court of Auditors, Enriqueta Chicano. And this story is precisely related to Chicano and the Court of Auditors, so pay close attention. The Court of Auditors, presided over by Enriqueta Chicano, has concealed serious irregularities detected during the audit of public contracts awarded to the businessman Juan Carlos Barrabés. To protect the wife of the Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, who is Begoña Gómez, the head of Madrid's Court of Instruction number 41, Juan Carlos Peinado, is investigating these contracts, which would exceed 20 million euros, in a case in which Begoña Gómez is charged with crimes of influence peddling, business corruption, embezzlement, professional intrusion, and misappropriation. These contracts, also investigated by the European Public Prosecutor's Office, were awarded by the public company Red.es, which is under the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Digital Transformation, to companies linked to Barrabés, such as Innovanext and the Valley Digital Business School. You know that many times they went as a joint venture, right? Well, the sources from the Court of Auditors that we have consulted tell us that the advisor from the 4th Audit Department, who was nominated by the People's Party, José Manuel Otero Lastres, prepared a report to audit the contracts awarded by the public company Red.es, among others, to the businessman Juan Carlos Barrabés. Otero Lastres submitted the draft of this report for review, which warned of very serious irregularities detected in the awards made to Barrabés. It was then that the president of the tribunal, Enriqueta Chicano, and other left-wing councillors threatened Otero Lastres with voting against the report in the plenary session. If the specific references to those irregularities in Barrabés' contracts were not omitted or softened, Councillor Otero Lastres then reworked the audit report, without including the direct references to Barrabés' awards, and it was voted on in the plenary session. The councillors proposed by the PSOE and the PP voted in favour, and Otero Lastres himself, to show his disagreement with the threat, abstained. Later, he wrote a document that was to be attached as an annex to the report, explaining the reasons for his abstention. It should be noted that this document has still not been added by the Court of Auditors in the report published on the website. Where should it be? The same ones? Sources consulted emphasize that Chicano and the other left-wing members of the court have followed a political approach, with the aim of hiding the serious irregularities detected in the contracts awarded to Barrabés, which are currently being investigated by the courts. What has happened in the Court of Auditors is a real scandal. All of this with the sole purpose of protecting the wife of the Prime Minister, Begoña Gómez. This is extremely serious what we're reporting in precautionary measures, and that's exactly what has happened. That's what this channel is for, to tell you everything that those in power are covering up. It's extremely serious, extremely serious. They are covering up the irregularities detected in the awards to the businessman from a previous audit report by the Court of Auditors. Juan Carlos Barrabés, for which Begoña Gómez is being investigated by the European Public Prosecutor's Office and by Judge Peinado. And those references are diluted in the final report, omitted. What we're talking about is very serious. And what does the report say in the end, this watered-down report then? The so-called audit report on the management and control procedures implemented by the public business entity Red for the execution of the Recovery, Transformation and Resilience Plan for the period 2021-2024 was approved by the Court of Auditors on February 26. During the audited period, Red.es managed a budget of 4.345 billion euros, of which 3.067 billion correspond to the Kitty digital program, aimed at promoting the digitalization of small businesses, companies, and self-employed workers. Through aid vouchers, out of the total budget, 4.046 billion euros had been executed as of December 31, 2024. The final report concludes that as of that date, the level of payment execution was low. 1.016 billion had been paid, that is 25% of the executed budget, with 3.030 billion still pending, mainly linked to the Digital Kit program. Among the reasons for the low level of payment in this program is the need to meet the specific deadlines for these grants. The Court of Auditors also states in its final report that Red.es it generally complied with the provisions of the applicable regulations in the management of grants, agreements, and contracts. However, regarding the grants that represent 90% of the total executed budget, the report finds that a very small portion of the beneficiaries of the Digital Kit program were not eligible for this status. The report considers that the management procedures, information systems, and organizational structure implemented by Red.es meet the requirements established for execution, such as the prevention of fraud, corruption, and conflicts of interest. Although the report identifies opportunities for improvement in the procedures, it also points out aspects that can be improved in relation to the methodology and tools for evaluating and monitoring these milestones and objectives, especially those related to the Digital Kit program. The report makes recommendations aimed at improving planning, strengthening internal controls, updating the information recorded in the monitoring systems, and ensuring the proper identification of funding. As you can see, as you can verify, not a single mention of the irregularities detected in the public contracts awarded to the businessman Juan Carlos Barrabés, the friend of Begoña Gómez and Pedro Sánchez, who received numerous contracts worth more than 20 million euros from public entities in Spain. And these contracts, as I was telling you, are being investigated by the head of Madrid's Court of Instruction number 41, Juan Carlos Peinado, where Begoña Gómez is under investigation and charged with 5 offenses, and these contracts are also being investigated by the European Public Prosecutor's Office. Despite this, politics also prevails in the Court of Auditors. And the leftist president Enriqueta Chicano, to cover up, to protect Begoña Gómez and Pedro Sánchez, omits the detected irregularities. Pay close attention, because this is extremely serious, and we'll see what consequences it may have. Because what they've done is dilute these deficiencies in the final report so that it's not crystal clear in black and white. Those serious irregularities detected with the businessman Juan Carlos Barrabés, which of course would implicate the president of the government and his wife. In short, exclusive and very serious information that I'm sharing with all of you here through precautionary measures. That's it for this edition of Precautionary Measures. Please leave me your opinion about this widespread corruption that we are suffering in Spain. It's incredible. When we think we've seen it all, a new scandal leaves us shocked. Now we have an entire Court of Auditors following political objectives, political guidelines to save the Prime Minister and his wife. It's a disgrace. This should have consequences. This is so that Enriqueta Chicano, the President of the Court of Auditors, resigns immediately. It's a serious irregularity, and it should probably also be investigated. We don't know if criminally, but it should be investigated in any case, because this can't be left like this. Pay close attention to the consequences that this information may have, and which we have confirmed firsthand. Leave me your opinions. You know you can share this video with whoever you want, with your friends, family, co-workers, and I know that many of you really do it. Thank you very much. And you can also become members like the chosen ones to support this channel for less than €3 a month. You already know that we've surpassed over 100 members, thank you so much, and you can also become members like the Supremes for less than €7 a month. All of this is to support this project, this channel about precautionary measures that you make together with yours truly. You can also contribute via Visium at 627-556-370-627-5563. And you already know, the most important thing, as I always tell you, is that this information reaches everyone, because information is power. See you soon, thank you.